Good morning, afternoon, or evening, my paranormal friends. I am going to tell you a great story today. This happened in 2009, 2010. So, in that time frame, I was working for a really large um, company that ran apartment homes. So I was the manager for apartment homes, and I was what they called a floater manager. And what I would do is I would go and manage that apartment building when the manager itself was on vacation. So I got a phone call to go to a small apartment complex. It was only 100 and I want to say it was 130, mostly like townhouse style apartment homes. And it was an older community. It was probably built in 1980. And I know that's not that old for apartments, but it was old for what we managed because we had a lot of new buildings. And so I got to that apartment office, and the office was set up, and it's a smaller office because it's not a large apartment building. It's a smaller office. So when you walk in, you have glass doors so you can see people coming in and out. And there's only one door to this office. And then on the right, there was the manager's office. And then straight ahead, there were two desks for the leasing consultants. Well, this happened to be the leasing consultants were gone, the manager was gone. There was no one there but me. And so I was leasing and I was manager. So it was everything. It's a small community. So I sat at the desk, one of the desks. It was the desk on the right if you were walking in. And there was a desk next to me that was empty. And the only people who were there who was me, the porter Maria, and the service manager. And the service manager does all the maintenance, and the porter does the cleaning and helps with move-ins and that kind of thing. So I was there for I want to say a week. So the first day that I was there, I was sitting in the office by myself and I kept hearing noises, but it's an old building, so I just ignored it. One or twice I got up to look into the break room because that I was hearing noises in the break room, and that was just to the left of the front door. You had to go through a door, and there was a small break room, no entrance except for that front door. And then there was a men and women's restroom next door outside of the break room for the residents and for the office staff. So anybody who came to visit, there was a bathroom. So I kept hearing noises. I didn't think much about them because, like I said, possibly that I could be hearing noises from outside. There were windows that did not open, but I don't know. I just ignored them. And so I get a phone call, and someone wanted to check and see if they received their package. So I get up and I go to the package room, put that person on hold, of course, come out, and the chair that I was sitting in was spinning. So it was spinning like this. So I don't know if you've ever gotten up from a chair that's on wheels and spins. It doesn't typically just start spinning. It might rotate once, but you're going to hear it because the chair moves. And I was gone quite a while because I went through several packages. So I was like, that's interesting. And so I'm getting the vibe. Like, I feel like someone else is someone that I can't see is there in this office. And I was like, okay, this is weird. So then the same day I go to lunch, I lock up. Again, I'm the only one there. I have keys. I got them from the service manager. I leave. I had a stack of papers on the desk, so leasing papers. So basically, it would tell me what apartments were open, what I could show for anybody who walks in. And I come back from lunch, and all of my papers are spread between the two desks. So, like, someone went and took the papers from the desk and then just threw them on the floor of the office. So I was like, okay, this is weird. So Maria came in the next morning. I got there early. Maria was cleaning the office, as porters do. And I talked to Maria and I was like, hey Maria, can I ask you a really weird question? And she said, yes. I said, is this place haunted? Has anything happened to you while you're in here? You're in here a lot of on your own, while you're cleaning in the mornings. Like, does weird things happen? And she said yes. She said that there was a ghost in the office, that it was a woman. And often, and she called it a woman, and she didn't know who it was, or any story or backstory or anything about it, other than things move all the time. So she'll come in, and the desk chairs are always pushed in at night. They're sometimes out in front of the desks. The chairs that's where the client chairs in front of the desk, they would move. There was like decorations that would move. So she's telling me all this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this uh this is, great. So I started talking to whoever this was. So I'm by myself. There's no one in there. So I'm like, if you're here, show me some signs, you know. Um, and I want to talk to you. I was trying to um just get some kind of reaction. At this time, I have no idea why I never thought to videotape on my phone. And phones back then were did not have as nice as video quality as they have now. So maybe that's why I never thought. It wasn't something that you did all the time like you do now, and blogs and what we do, video. And so I didn't record any of this, but so it was late. It was probably, we close at 6. It was probably 4 o'clock. I'd stopped trying to contact whoever this was because nothing was happening. And all of a sudden I hear shh. And I'm like, what is that? So shh. And what is this noise? So I get up, I walk around the corner, I'm looking for this noise. I'm going into the business office where the packages are. It's not coming from there. So I go into the break room because the break room has, a sink and a fridge, and it's not coming from there. And I'm standing in the break room and I'm still hearing shh in the break room. And I'm like, what is that? And so I'm like, oh, the bathroom. So I'm thinking the bathroom. So I open the door. I start in the men's room. I'm by myself. Nothing's happened in the men's room. So I go into the women's room. In the sink in the women's room is on. I am not kidding you. That was on full blast. Someone or something turned the water on in that place, and it was just running that whole time I was looking. And I was like, okay, never have I ever seen that happen. Now I heard stories from the maintenance manager that something could happen and the sink could be broken and turn on. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's broken. So I go and I turn on, it was the cold water. I turn it off, but I never turned back on. So I was there another 2 or 3 days after that. The water never turned back on. I never had another encounter after that. And so that I started telling people the story because I had friends in the company, and I was like, hey, listen, this is what happened to me at this place. And a lot of people had been at the property before because it was an older property, and they stayed with the company for a long time. So I finally, when we're in the offices together, we talk about ghost stuff because it just comes up for me. And so I was talking to this one woman, and she had been with the company for a very long time, and she told me who she thought was in that office. So here's the story for that. So she had this friend who was the manager of that particular apartment complex, and she was pregnant. And I need to preface this in case anybody gets really upset for, you know, um, just maybe you want to stop the video here. So, anyways, so um, she had this friend. She was in her 20s and she was pregnant, and she was the manager of that particular apartment building. So she was hanging out with her friend, and they went into the spa, the hot tub at the apartment complex. And she was pregnant, and she left the spa and went home because she wasn't feeling well. And she lived on site, as most managers do in apartment complexes. And she took a bath right after the spa, and she either fell asleep or she uh, something happened and she died, and her baby died in the bathtub in the apartment, and they didn't find her until later. So they think it was something to do with the hot water in the spa. You know how they have warnings if you're pregnant, don't get in the spa. I'm not a doctor. I don't know um what the causes of that could have been. But she did pass away there on the property. And she said that a lot of people had encounters and believed it was this woman who died on the property, because the door would open. So people would be sitting there um, in the office by themselves, and the front door would open like someone walked in. And then no one's had the encounter where the water turned on. That was solely for me. But the papers moving, all that stuff. So if you didn't believe in ghosts, you should now, because that's a true story. I want to thank you so much for listening today. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us. And then, of course, continue listening to the podcasts. We really appreciate your support, and stay tuned for next Wednesday when I tell you another story. That's true. All right. Have a great night.